Hello there. Thank you for joining us again this week on the Photography Shift. My name's Liz Devonshire. I'm a brand photographer and visibility specialist, and I'm really delighted to be welcoming Abbey Booth this week as our guest. Abby's runs a very successful business called Stories with Clothes. And if you're anything like me, I struggle with what I'm going to wear for an event, or sometimes even when I get up in the morning. So it's really, really interesting conversations that we're having. I know that everyone else will be interested too. We're discussing the next steps on once you've made those sort of decisive decisions about stepping out of your comfort zone. We're looking at how that can level up your marketing. We discuss identity and the embodiment of those confidence shifts that you make. So I'm really hoping that you'll enjoy today's conversation. Where my last series, Visibility, was all about the bravery and saying, yes, this is all about the authority signaling and the value alignment that you move into once you've made those strategic decisions. So without further ado, here's Abby and myself in conversation. Hello, thank you for joining the Photography Shift this week. I'm so very excited about today's guest, and I know all you guys will be too, because as women in business, our appearance, whether meeting clients or attending events or having a photo shoot, is so important to us and our brand, where all the first impressions really matter. So I'm delighted to be welcoming fashion expert Abbey Booth. So, from champagne tea parties to pop-up shopping experiences, Abby has really made her mark in fashion and style, and her experience speaks for itself, having written for all the big nationals, dressed backstage at the London Fashion Week, and been the course leader of the London College of Style. She's also collaborated with some absolutely huge brands like Space NK, John Lewis, Whistles, and the BBC. And now she's enabling her clients to embrace their style with all the sparkle that she imparts. So, a really warm welcome, Abby. And I know that I would love to hear more about your business and your journey into stories with clothes just before we dive into all our questions.
Thank you so much for having me. Delighted to be here.
Yeah, well, I'm so pleased that you agreed to come along because I know that clothes is one thing that not just myself, but probably all the listeners are really, really interested in hearing because we all struggle in the mornings when we get up, don't know what to wear. And a lot of us in business go along to events or we're having photo shoots. And it's one of those things where I know a lot of my clients, it's one of the first things they say, oh, I don't know what to do about clothes that I'm going to wear for the shoot. I want to be on brand, but I want to look really good. I want to convey certain things to my clients. So obviously, the styling aspect is really, really important.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's your first kind of visual representation of your business. You're having a photo shoot done, but also if you're going to an event, you're kind of your own advert for your business, really, aren't you? Before anyone sort of has the opportunity to speak to you. And I always think that style and clothes are an invitation to people. It's a way in for people to come and chat to you. So it's really lovely when you can see it like that rather than something that's intimidating or scary. But I know that for many women, mornings are really busy. So part of what I do is kind of making mornings easier and more fun again as well, so that people know what to reach for without the overwhelm, without the stress, but still feel like themselves and not feel like a kind of caricature of themselves. That's sort of really important to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did you decide to begin? I mean, Stories with Clothes is a really lovely um, name of a brand, and I'm really interested to know how you came up with that.
It was really before I moved into styling. I had a women's wear boutique, which is where the champagne tea parties. But I mean, it has given me an idea because I'm like, God, why don't I do those again now as a stylist? But they were really lovely. So I had a women's wear boutique in my local town, and the idea behind it was that it was like getting ready in your best friend's bedroom before a night out. Or for anything really. So really friendly, really welcoming. It was very small and intimate space. But I wanted women to feel really comfortable and really at home because I think a lot of time we go into shops, boutiques, and we know they're sort of up and down looking or people feel like they're not worthy, or that they shouldn't be there, they're too big, too old, or all of these things. And what I noticed through my experience of having a boutique was the stories that women told themselves or had been told by other people. That they were past it, too old, too big, or what would everyone think? And it really kind of sat with me. And I was so fascinated by the stories that the women then told me about their lives. And what I love is working with ordinary women, if you like, who are far, far, far beyond ordinary. I think, ordinary women are actually extraordinary, which is why I never wanted to be a fashion stylist and work with celebrities, because I'm interested in the real women who are doing real life, juggling all the things. And I felt I could really help them. And that's really where that name came about, was those stories, all the stories that we hear about ourselves or that we're told about ourselves. And I kind of wanted to see if I could change that narrative and make women feel much more confident and more happy in their own skin, and kind of more confident not to listen to what other people told them or what other people thought, just to be really confident and comfortable in their own skin. So yeah, that's where the name was born from.
Yeah, that's really important because I think the way women feel about themselves generally, especially when they get to a certain age and they're kind of told to kind of, be more in the background. And I think it's really important women don't feel like that, and women do kind of dress as they want to dress without being sort of judged by it, which I think there is a lot of
Absolutely.
judgment that goes on. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of my clients worry about that. Um,
Mm.
I work a lot of obviously in brand photography and creating visibility for people. And I know that there are a lot of women who are, oh, who am I to kind of put myself forward, push myself into the limelight and this kind of thing. And
Mm.
I really feel like people should be pushing themselves into the limelight. It should be kind of like, celebrating their amazing achievements in running a business because it is an achievement. So
Yeah.
I love that idea. Your boutique sound like a wonderful environment to go to. I love the idea of like, feeling like you're going into your bedroom and getting dressed for the
Yeah.
night. That's such a brilliant idea. And I've never
Yeah, I
heard
loved it.
anyone
It
doing
was a
that before.
beautiful space. Yeah, and I just think every woman deserves to look and feel beautiful, sexy, powerful, whatever it is they want to feel, and really take ownership of it. But I think that we are kind of worried what other people think, and we are conditioned to, almost doubt ourselves and not take up our space. But I think the older we get, the more wisdom we've got, right? So we've actually got more to share with the world if they only let us and listen to us. And shrinking and being invisible and hiding is just not the answer. And I always feel that if we can make these kind of small inroads, then it enables another woman that's coming up behind us, our daughters, our friends, our sisters, or colleagues, whatever, to feel more empowered to then take up their space. And it's like this lovely ripple effect that goes outwards, that if someone else sees someone doing it, they feel empowered to do it as well. So I always think it's not necessarily always about us, it's about the impact that we can have on others as well. And I think when you look at it like that, it makes it much more about everyone rather than just us, which can sometimes help as well. That, like, oh, it's not just for me. Because I think also women have such a, it's like, oh, worrying about our clothes or thinking about the way that we look or is somehow vain or vanity. And, we're being selfish by taking up time for ourselves. But actually, we give out so much time and energy and space to other people. And we're often last on the list, where actually it's a kindness to ourselves to put ourselves top of that list and take some time for ourselves. And it doesn't need to be complicated or convoluted, but actually we can't give to everyone else when we're coming from a space of emptiness or depletion. So actually it's kind to be
Yeah.
kind to yourself. It really is.
This is such an interesting conversation. So, where we started last autumn was talking about the visibility shift, and we talked all about people stepping out of their comfort zone into the limelight. And the photography shift is tackling the kind of next step on, which is like the embodiment of that and taking control of that and taking your yourself into the image and embodying kind of the authenticity of yourself. And I think talking about what you're wearing and how you do that is really important.
Mm,
So I love kind of what you're saying about that. So I just wanted to come into that first question, following on from what you said, and ask you, at what point in your growth did you realize that your visual presence needed to evolve and that your visuals weren't actually matching up with the level of your work? Because you're obviously like what you're doing is an incredibly visual um,
mm.
uh, wo- uh, work. Sorry, I can't get the right
Yeah.
find the right words, but what you're doing is very visual. So obviously,
Mm.
the pictures that you're showing are really important. So I'm just curious to know when that
Yeah,
came in.
yeah, definitely. And I think it's often your, whether it's your socials or LinkedIn or your emails or whatever, your, your visuals are the first thing that often people notice, and it's often the first thing that draws them to you. And it's always a feeling, and that's always what I kind of say to clients. It's about the feeling that you want to evoke. You know, people don't necessarily want to look like me or have my clothes. I mean, some of them do. Everyone was fighting over the red cape on Friday's event on our when we were kind of dressing up and things. But ultimately, it's about a feeling that evokes. What they see is a confident woman happy to kind of take up her space, and they're perhaps thinking, oh, I want a bit of that. Because I don't always feel confident, but I embody and I evoke it through the way that I dress. And I also have fun with it. And I think that's such a big, important part of my brand is the fun element. And I think for me, I had a moment where I've really struggled with my business is growing and I'm actually drawing in these really interesting female founders and senior women in business, but I'm still a fun person. So how do I do that? And I actually had a photo shoot where I was like, I need to look more serious. I need to look more business. And I just didn't like any of the photos because I
Yeah,
didn't really feel like myself. And then when my friend looked at them, she was like, yeah, but why people love you is because you're colourful and bold. And I don't always wear colour, but I suppose it's the application of the pieces. It exudes kind of confidence and energy. And I think that's the word that's really important for me is energy. And
yeah,
those photos that I had done where I felt like I should be something, you could just see that the energy wasn't there. And some of them I like, that's fine. But I think it's so important to really think about the feeling that you want to invoke or evoke rather.
yeah,
And that will really kind of really help people when they're looking at having a brand photo shoot. It's like, what do you want your clients to feel? What do you want to be known as? And for me, I got a little bit lost in that a few years ago, thinking I needed to be something else. And I'm sure you must see it. The energy in photos always comes over, doesn't it? It comes across.
yeah,
And if it's not there, you just can't. You could add all the filters you want in the world, but the energy just isn't there. Um, and so for me, I now always absolutely dress as kind of my best self. And I think, what do I want to, what do I want my clients to feel? What do I want to be known as? And that really helps me. And then I realised that actually I could still work the senior women business and have fun. The two weren't mutually
yeah,
exclusive. They could both exist and coexist. And I think that was a really big learning for me. That I felt like the two couldn't go hand in hand, but they absolutely can. You can be powerful and you can be kind. You can be compassionate and you can be fierce. And you can be all of these things. But I think particularly it's a bit like we were saying earlier, isn't it, about the stories that women are told. You're supposed to be the good girl and be kind and compassionate. But you can do that and you can be kick-ass fierce and powerful. And I think that was a huge lesson for me. So after that, I've always taken forward absolutely being myself and not changing the way that I dress.
yeah.
So yeah, that for me was
Yeah,
very
and
powerful.
that's such an important message, I think, because it's very easy to get carried away by kind of thinking what you should be doing, looking at what other
Yeah,
people are doing. Perhaps, you've got people around you telling you that you should be X, Y, and Z, but actually, I think you do have to follow your gut and and be true to yourself and be true to what you believe in, your values, um, and as you say the feelings you want to evoke and also how you feel
yeah,
inside because I think if you're not if you go to a photo shoot and you feel really uncomfortable and stiff and not yourself it's
yeah.
wrong
Yeah, it
and
just
yeah,
it's just that's like awkwardness, isn't it? And it's I mean I see it with clients that I work with, regardless of whether it's on a photo shoot or they're in their wardrobe or out shopping,
Yeah.
the minute you put a piece on that feels and looks amazing, the body language shifts completely, and it's literally taking up more space. And that's what's so brilliant about finding styles and pieces that really work with you,
Yeah.
rather than against you, is that it will just help you naturally kind of feel confident, comfortable, and take up your space. And when there's a disconnect, it kind of shows itself as like awkwardness, or scratchy fabric, or a fabric that makes you too hot, or whatever it is. It's really
Yeah.
distracting, whatever scenario it is, but particularly in a photo shoot where you perhaps feel a bit exposed anyway. You want to feel really, really like yourself. And equally, sometimes the clothes can also take you there as well. When you're not quite feeling it, you want an outfit to really take you somewhere and make you
Yeah.
feel something.
Yeah, no, it is really interesting actually. Um, so I mean, I think kind of we've covered this a little bit, how your visual identity influences the way people perceive your authority. But also, did your investment in photography influence the way clients perceive you and pay you? Because essentially, we are all in business, and as much as I mean, I know from what you've said already, you're very passionate about what you do, as I am, but we still need to obviously pay the bills at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think for me, particularly having photos that are really good quality on a website, I think socials is changing slightly now, but on a website, you need images that are really good quality and not kind of fuzzy, or a bit blurred, or like selfies are just not going to cut it on a website. You need them to be able to translate into all different sizes and formats as well. And I think that's where the beauty of having really great photography is that you can change them seasonally. So on my website, they might change. The cover image might change slightly in the winter, for example, to
Yeah,
evoke the season and the fact that it's a different season, and you want to be relevant and current. So I think it's having that selection is really important, because it actually makes your life easier. And then you've got images that you can do a mail out now, which still looks, it looks really slick, it looks really professional, and it still looks like you. And I think it's marrying all those things up as well, isn't it? It's having all of those things at your disposal to actually reach the clients that you want to reach, make the money that you want to make, and continue reaching those clients, and then potentially elevating, because we're all growing, aren't we? And our clients are kind of growing and expanding and
yeah,
moving with us. So it's having images that are reflecting where you're at now. If you look at, say, my images from 8 years ago, I'm not going to look like quite the same person, because I'm not the same person.
no,
I'm more experienced now. I've worked with over 1,000 women now. So that woman who first started styling, probably, she perhaps, I bet my body language, if I look back then, it's almost a bit like, a bit. Whereas now I really try and take up my space, and I have fun with it, and so I think that's the difference, isn't it? It's about having images that reflect where you're at now and
yeah.
where you're going towards, rather than what you once were. Because our knowledge and our experience is always growing, so our images also need to reflect that.
Yeah, no, that is really true as well. The way we evolve and the experiences we have really make such a difference to our businesses
Mm,
and should kind of be reflected in our imagery as well. Um,
yeah.
so thinking about your own sort of brand shoot experience, you've kind of mentioned a little bit earlier. What would you share with someone preparing to have their own brand shoot? And is there a piece of practical advice or an action that you'd recommend someone to take before having a brand shoot, either before the day or on the day itself?
Yeah, I'd say before the day, prep and plan your outfits, like you wouldn't believe. I mean, obviously worked backstage on fashion shows where it's really fast paced, and you've got to get your outfits ready and turn around super, super quickly. Some fashion shows are like, it's less than minutes, yet you've got 70 outfits to get out there. So I think it's made me really good at prepping and packing, and looking at outfits. So I would say plan and prep outfits. Be realistic about what you can do and achieve in the time as well, because changing takes time. And it can also be quite tiring as well, changing in and out of outfits a lot.
Yeah.
But you can be quite strategic about it as well. So I think about clever layering so that you're getting the max out of your images. So think how you can change an outfit really easily, i.e., if I put a jacket over this top, it's going to look quite different. I've got one here if I show you. But you know, clever layering can change the whole feel. So if I put something like this over, all of a sudden it changes the energy of that outfit quite easily. And then if I take it off again, it's quite a different look. I think accessories also can really change up a look quite easily, and they're obviously quite straightforward to change and add to a look. So I think just spend some time prepping and planning your outfits, and try them on as well. If it's things you haven't worn for a while, try them to make sure that they fit and they're comfortable and they move with you. But yeah, obviously I come at it from an outfit perspective, because it's really important to feel confident and comfortable, but also be thinking about that next level you, rather than the keeping it the same because you're having a photo shoot, because obviously your business has grown or expanded or you want it to. So it's also thinking about what that next step looks like for
Yeah.
you, and then picking styles to suit you. So yeah, I'd say prep and plan is really important. Um,
Yeah. That's
because
brilliant.
it makes things easier on the day as well. And I think if you've got options as well, sometimes if it's a studio shoot, or maybe you're outside and it's really cold, having options is really handy as well. If you get outside, I do a lot of shoots outside because that's what I really love. I love being outside and I like that energy and that movement. But I have to think about being cold because I'm the coldest person ever. So I always take lots of outfits, or lots of layers that I can change up easily, which makes it a lot
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah, and that's a good idea for people because generally, like doing brand shoots, you will be doing some stuff outside, even if
Mm.
you kind of get a styled house, you'll be wanting some stuff maybe in the garden or something because
Yeah,
it just changes up the atmosphere of
yeah.
the pictures as well. Do you know what, Abby? This has been like a complete joy having you here because, and I could keep talking to you for a very long time
I feel
because
like
you've
we're on a
got
roll now, aren't we?
yeah,
Yeah.
you've got so much to say and it's so interesting. And I know that, I mean, obviously the main sort of listenership to this will be women in business. And obviously most women are interested in their clothes and what to wear for all different types of scenarios. So I know that this will be really fascinating for them. Thank you so much for sharing all of these insights and it's been really, really fascinating. As I say, I could keep talking to you for hours, but obviously, I know that I try and keep the interviews to a certain length just so it's bite-sized for everyone. Um, but if anyone wants to get in touch with Abby, I'll be putting all her connections, her website, and her social media links into the comments when I put the links up, and also they'll be next to the video. So please do join us, join Abby rather, at some point and get to know her and her business because she's got a fabulous business and she can really bring the sparkle back into your life, I'm sure. Okay, thank you so
Amazing.
much,
Thank you
Abby.
so much, Liz. Yeah, it's been a really great chat. Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you. So that was just a fabulous interview. I'm sure you'll all agree. Abby had so much to say, talking about being seen at the level in which you operate as well. I found it a really interesting conversation. I could have gone on chatting to Abby for a very long time. So I hope you all enjoyed it. Um, if you are interested in having a brand shoot or if you need help with your visibility, I am here to help you. So please do DM me. I run a 6-week course called the Visibility Vault to help people get strategic about their visibility with their imagery and more. And obviously, I'd also love to help you with your brand photography. I work very in depth with my clients. Our storytelling is very strategic to make sure that you are connected fully with your clients. So please do get in touch. I'd love just to chat with you. And yeah, look forward to next week. We've got Grace Fogarty with us next Wednesday. So please do tune in. Okay, take care. Bye.